Yep. Is that cool now?
Yeah, I don't hear you twice. That's great. I'm gonna share my screen and we can no, not this one. And we can quickly go over the text. Not really sure if the guys have they did the bans, but they didn't tell me which we both banned. Okay, so they both banned NG. That's good. Let's get this off here. And we are ready to go. So, CamiloBeltran. NG Referee Lockdown has been banned, so he has Archimages and SK Master Mirror. What do you think about these two decks?
Archimages, right. So we do remember the Archgriffin that every time you boost it, it will keep the boosts. So you have that with the Ring of Favor. Also have that with Casting Contest if you wish. I mean, I can imagine you'd probably want to use it on your students, but still an option there. And obviously, you want the arrow to the students to stay alive so that we can get those boosts onto the Archgriffin. Also, the Erland of Lava is in this deck too, so the boosts will be also coming from there as well. What are your thoughts on this deck, Pockers?
Well, this is a deck that Decode made, and we kind of tested it a lot together. It's a deck that can be very, very abusive, especially if you are able to get a lot of those boosts onto the Archgriffin. If that is set up, you can and is put back in the deck, you can drop a massive Erland on board, and it's very, very difficult to deal with, especially with how a lot of these decks are made in this tournament. There's not a lot of options to deal with a very high powered unit, especially Erland, who is basically an immune unit if you play within its adrenaline limit. And it's a 2-0 deck in all honesty. If you play properly, you can get a lot of points, and I do think that Camilo has a very, very strong deck if he plays it properly and if the RNG favors him just a little bit.
Yeah. I can see also that we have Xanthiax also has Archimages, so there potentially might be a mirror, which will be really interesting to see.
Yep, exactly. And since both of the players banned the NG versions of their lineups, we are expecting to have definitely one mirror, and most probably we might have a very interesting matchup with the Phoenix Swarm as well, because the Phoenix Swarm is a very peculiar deck. It does have the Phoenix, which is basically a very big carryover card if you're able to spawn multiple versions of it, using the Araka's Queen and quite a few of the other of its other options there. You can get a lot of carryover points that you can actually protect, since it is a card that uses an order. I do feel that this deck, whoever play with this deck, if they are able to spawn those phoenixes early, oh my god, it does have it is a lot of fun to see this going into all the matches, all the rounds. It can be very, very devastating.
Yeah, agreed.
And basically, how do you feel about the Master Mirror? This is another deck made by Decode, actually, and he was very, very proud of this. That Master Mirror there is the only deck that actually runs this card, and it's a very meme-based card, which I was very excited to see being a part of this tournament. How do you feel about this deck?
Decode, he is a maestro when it comes to building decks. Every time I've said to you, I like this deck, normally it does end up getting banned, and you always tell me it's a Decode deck. So he is definitely a maestro at building decks. This deck looks pretty strong. We have Shoop Stay Off, Redea, the combo that that if you have these two cards in your deck, can't have any duplicates in it. But I don't think it's a worry here. You do have Master Mirror, as you've mentioned. So for those who don't know what Master Mirror does, he transforms the leftmost card in your hand to a random legendary card from your faction that was not in your starting deck. Now also you can repeat this ability whenever you play the rightmost card from your hand. So you are able to transform any of the bronzes that you do have here in this deck. I mean, you could maybe potentially transform the Heimei Herbalist if you want, maybe the Demon Longship, but the options there's quite a few options there.
Mm-hmm.
And but the thing is, this is a massively RNG heavy base card. So you don't know what kind of legendary you're going to get. Hopefully it's something that's going to be useful from your faction. But, you know, Skellige has some good legendaries. So that's not, you know, we've seen that with Magic Compass as well. A card that was introduced not too long ago, only a few months ago. And you need to be thinning your deck out in order to get that ability where you can spawn a legendary Skellige card that was not in your starting deck. So you can play, you know, 2 legendaries from these 2 cards. I mean, more if you're able to play the rightmost card from your hand. But yeah, lots of points in this deck. The only trick is that you do have to be careful with your thinning, right? So, and also if, you know, if your opponent's running squirrels, which I don't think there's a squirrel. Oh, wait, no, there is no squirrel.
There is no squirrel, no.
Yeah, except for the Phoenix list, it does actually run a squirrel. So you got to be really careful about your Magic Compass there. You could play it for the first time, and then you potentially you might overthin and then not have the compass again for the 3rd and final round. So you got to be really, really mindful of that squirrel in that Phoenix list.
Okay, so I think we're ready to start. Let me notify the boys there just to be ready. Okay, starting now. Camilo will be on blue coin in this first game of the matchup. Starting the tournament, re-entering the brackets, giving Camilo the blue coin, and we are ready to go. Let me just go back to the main screen. You're watching my screen, right? Okay, excellent.
Wait, where did it go? Disappeared. Just bear with me. I think it's... But yeah, let's continue. I'm just trying to move the screen here. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, good luck. Have fun to both of the competitors, and we are ready to see these matches. Of course, I'm kind of biased here because I am rooting for Xanthiax. Xanthiax is a member of Team Bandit Gang, and he's actually the only member that actually took part in the tournament. We had a few.
No one can stop the Salamandra.
Oh my God!
No one.
I need to turn that a bit down, I think. Kung Fu Rabbit with the raid just at the appropriate time. Apologies for that. Hello, my friend. How are you doing? You came at the right moment. We have a tournament matchup coming up. So you just came at the appropriate moment. Thank you very much for the raid, my friend. So again, Xanthiax versus CamiloBeltran. This is going to be an interesting matchup. We are waiting. I think the guys here are probably ready. Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, Casino Gwent Cup, lower bracket round 4, I believe.
Round 4. We are getting closer and closer to the end. Tomorrow night we have one more game that
Humans, you're all the same.
I need to turn this down. Hold on, sorry. Lightning Freestyle, thank you very much for the follow. Hold on, let me just can I mute this? Because it does sound a bit loud.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you use Streamlabs or OBS.
It's OBS, but I can do this from here, I think.
Yeah, so if you just turn down the alerts, the sound.
Yeah, it's gonna be okay, most probably.
Yeah.
I didn't really count that will happen because I did set up the alerts kind of late and they're kind of new sounds and I haven't fiddled around with them. But yeah, everything is fixable. Okay, so they're taking their sweet time here. Probably deciding what they're gonna be taking on round 1. Again, Camilo is gonna be on blue coin. Xanthiax is gonna be on red coin. Camilo has Archimages and Master Miro, SK Master Miro, and Xanthiax is running another Archimages and MO Phoenix. Are we gonna see a first round with a mirror match, or are we gonna see something else? I think the Master Mirror is probably better on red coin. So the idea here will probably be that we see both Archmages on round 1. Phoenix as well needs blue coin, so it's gonna be interesting to see what they decide.
Yeah, so you can see that they're taking a little bit longer than usual to actually start the games. And I think it is due to the bans that they did and also just trying to decide, what deck am I going to take first? And sometimes, tournament matches can be a little bit of a mind game, trying to determine, what is my opponent going to bring? Obviously, they're going to be expecting I'm going to bring X, Y, Z. So should I be bringing this or should I bring something that's going to take them by surprise? And definitely that is a factor that comes into, what deck goes first.
I definitely agree with that. It's something, especially at this point we've reached in the tournament. Every little decision and every little mistake counts. Both players already in the losers bracket, so their next loss, it's game over for them, so they will be taking their sweet time thinking about this. Just in case something might be wrong, let me just see. Oh, here we go. I got a bit worried there.
So we're ready to go. Round 4 of the lower bracket, Casino Gwent Cup. We are getting to the pointy end of the tournament here. Xanthiax bringing Archimages on blue, and as well as Camilo bringing it on red. So sorry, I apologies. Camilo bringing it on blue and Xanthiax bringing on red. So we are seeing a mirror straight off the bat.
It made sense. It made sense that both players will probably try this out. So let's see what happens.
So in my opinion here, this matchup will come down to who draws what in this opening hand. And it looks like Camilo has the advantage here. He does have the stratagem of the Curse Scroll, so if he is trying to find something else, he has that option there, whereas Xanthiax does not have that option.
Xanthiax did get for his last mulligan an Amphibious Assault, so that might help him a bit. Both hands are very, very good. They're very close to each other in their options that they have here. But yes, that Curse Scroll might make the difference here.
Definitely. And we see Camilo starting off with that Bernard student, getting that patience down, just getting him started, and Xanthiax follows suit. He also puts down a Bernard student, trying to build up that damage patience. Might be useful for removing any of your opponent's cards when we need to.
And also you can get a lot of value from them. The more they stay on board, the more that patience is building up. But both players do need to get Letitia and Tisaya at some point on board. And there goes the Letitia from the side of Xanthiax. And I do feel like there we go. Curse Scroll into the Letitia. So both Letitias are going to be on board very, very soon. There we go.
Yeah, Xanthiax has put Letitia down a touch early, so he does have that upper hand with getting that extra boost. Now, question is, there is a lock there from Camilo ready to go with the Margarita there. Question is will he be locking the Letitia there to deny the value, or will he lock the Aretusa student? I imagine it might be the Letitia there, because Letitia will be boosting the patience of both the Bernard and the Aretusa student.
Indeed,
but let's see.
That is a very good assumption there. That Margarita will take a lot of the value out from Xanthiax setup. Xanthiax doesn't really have a reply to that. He didn't draw his own Margarita.
He doesn't. He does have the option of Tris butterflies there, so he could potentially draw the Margarita if he wishes. And we do see Camilo here drawing the Queen Adalia.
And I
imagine he will be taking on an extra Aretusa student here, because we are trying to get as many boosts as possible onto that.
Yeah, to get that Archgriffin out the moment it's everything is ready, just take that Archgriffin out and boost it. Although we do have the leader as well. The leader ability can get that Margarita in hand for Xanthiax, but we do see both players not going on for it. They're waiting, they're taking the sweet time. Oh,
Right.
okay.
So Xanthiax uses the casting contest. That student was at 3 because he did play it early, and that student had 3 damage, and he's gone and killed the Letitia. So this is getting interesting very quickly.
So he managed to take away that Letitia from board without actually using that log. So that log might be useful for something else.
And we see the exact same thing from Camilo answering that Letitia straight away. So both players losing their Letitia in this round. Question is, who will be able to get that boost? Now, Camilo has 2 students on the board already, and we see Xanthiax going for the second one as well. It's kind of hard with not being able to see the patience on the students. If you're able to hover over them, that'd be great.
Yep. You will have 4 and 2, while we have 3 and 1 on the side of Xanthiax. This is not a big boost, and with the Letitias, both Letitias gone, there's a lot of value already taken away from this combo.
Yeah, and both players have to be mindful about that Ring of Favor. I mean, it is a big boost, so if they are going to play the Archgriffin, once the opponent passes, that Ring of Favor does banish itself. So it could be a little tricky just trying to time that Ring of Favor, because it is a big boost, and you probably want to use that ring if you can.
And there we have Camilo putting that Archgriffin in hand for probably the next round. And we get a trees from Xanthiax. He's gonna be using that on the Archgriffin, so he gets some boost anyway. Okay.
So there goes the Archgriffin. Thing is here, both players want to be boosting, so I don't imagine Xanthiax will be passing, because if he did pass, that ring does disappear. The thing is, both players have the cards that they need. It's just a mind game of who can get the most boost onto this Archgriffin. Xanthiax got that extra little boost of 3 with the just butterflies there, and down comes the Archgriffin. Both players trying to get the boosts onto the Archgriffin now.
There is a very interesting concept here. Xanthiax can actually get the Margarita now and use that on the Archgriffin. So all those boosts might help in winning round 1, but they won't do a lot into getting all that carryover. And we have the Ring of Favor. Okay.
So his Griffin is looking a little bigger, 26 to 21 now, but the students have not boosted him yet, so he does go up to 33.
Oh my
52
God.
with the Ring of Favor.
Oh my god, those
Crazy.
are a lot of points.
Yeah, there are 3 students on Camilo's side, so he does have that extra student. Xanthiax only has 2, so he might not have the same amount of boosts here. We did see Camilo play Tetea as well, so that's why we got the extra boosts from the Aretusa students. So he does have that upper hand in terms of getting the boost, and he also has an extra casting contest there as well.
This will be interesting to see how Xanthiax will deal with this.
Xanthiax can play the Margarita onto the Archgriffin, but he may have to recognize that he won't be winning this round. We are at 91 to 62. Down comes the Tetea though, so she will be resetting the order for those students. If Xanthiax sees that line of play that you have suggested with the Margarita, it could be potentially game-changing here.
And there we go. Oh boy, there's gonna be the leader.
Let's see if he does take that line of play. And he does! He takes
go.
the Margarita. He is going to lock that Archgriffin that, Camilo has worked so hard to boost, and it will not be carrying over. And Xanthiax gets 46 onto his Archgriffin. Doesn't win the round, but it doesn't even matter because he has the carryover, and Camilo's Archgriffin sadly won't be carrying the boosts on for the next round.
Now the interesting question is, what does Camilo do in this kind of scenario, since he lost a very, very, very important card from his deck, no carryover for him. Is it possible that we're going to see a full push here to get that 2-0? Does he have the ability to do that? That will be interesting to see.
I mean, he hasn't taken the mulligans here, so he is going to go for a little push here. Xanthiax does have 1 leader charge left versus Camilo, who has no leader charges left. So he has to be careful with his mulligans here for sure.
Okay.
Xanthiax easily can defend this lead here. He does have the Erland, which is going to boost everything in his deck and gains immunity, so there's nothing that Camilo can do in this instance. He is just trying to set carry over here with the meditating mages, and I imagine he will be clicking them on the next turn to get that vitality onto those mages. They will be meditating into the next round.
If possible, he might even just save up that Erland, not use the order, so he can keep the extra boost and still have the Archgriffin there with the 47 points. And there's nothing that Camilo can do in round 3, I think, in order to deal with this. And Xanthiax goes for the leader. Easter down. Okay.
History lies buried here.
Yeah, definitely. You want that Archgriffin for round 3 to have that massive point slam. I imagine Xanthiax is just pulling that Istrid out for that extra little bit of carryover, but as well, you know, just to try and defend this bleed. I mean, obviously we can see what cards both players have, but it is that, you know, not knowing what your opponent has in their hand. So he is just preempting that, you know, if my opponent has something big, I'll be able to defend it with this Istrid, which is a 6-point body, and also he does give a little bit of carryover.
And here we have another meditating mage. He's not going to be able to activate that, but he does win round 2. There is some extra carryover of 6 points for Camilo, but Xanthiax still has the Archgriffin, and there he goes.
I was just about to say, I was going to ask you, I was thinking, he used his last leader charge in the last round. If he's not able to find the Archgriffin, how does he find it here?
And he just gets it. He just gets it.
I think, you know what, I think that was... For me, that would have given me a lot of anxiety, thinking if I don't find my Archgriffin. I mean, there was a few cards left in the deck there, but, you know, he does have the Neuromancy available in the deck, but it just hadn't appeared yet, so I was a little worried there for Xanthiax, but he does get that Archgriffin. This game is looking like it's going to be over really soon. Unfortunately, that lock came in quite clutch in round 1.
That was indeed a very lucky draw. He got what he wanted. That Erland comes down from Camilo, but I don't think it's going to be enough. 47 points coming down from the Archgriffin. That was a very, very good play from him. In all honesty,
talented player, just drawing the card that you need for round 3.
Exactly. Why don't I ever have this chance to get exactly what I want just from the mulligans? I'll never understand how they do it.
I think you need to ask Xanthiax what his secret is, and Xanthiax does take out game number 1. So we are going to go to game number 2.
Okay. That was indeed a very great mirror. I think Xanthiax tried to play it safe in round 1, not trying to do too many things with his leader charges. He used just 1, and he was waiting with that Margarita specifically for that Archgriffin. He knew he was going to come down, and he had the advantage of playing on red coin. Actually here red coin gave him a big advantage. Taking out that Archgriffin was the most important moment in match one. What do you think?
It definitely was, and I wonder if Camilo actually knew that line of play. It is, I mean, you saw that line of play. I didn't think of that line of play at all. And you know, Camilo did have that option of holding on to the margarita because he did. Sorry, he did have the margarita in hand, so he could have locked that Archgriffin as well. You know, Xanthiax didn't have anything to purify with or get rid of that lock, so he could have potentially done the same line. But you know, it might be the case of, oh well, I don't want to do it in case my opponent thinks of that line. So it is a little bit of, you know, psychological warfare going on here in this tournament. But again, that lock came in clutch, and unfortunately, Camilo just did not have the points in comparison to the Archgriffin. So we are going into game number 2. We see Master Mirror from Camilo here, and Xanthiax taking Phoenix Swarm on blue. And you get that extra stratagem with the Death Wish. So let's see how many copies of the Phoenix Xanthiax can make.
And we are also looking at the MO deck that excels on that blue coin, while the Master Mirror deck does excel in when playing red coin. So we have two decks here on the favorable coins. Will it be easy for Xanthiax to make all those copies? He does start with the Eidolon right there, so he's gonna be definitely going in for the kill there with the Phoenixes as soon as possible.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the Coral there, she plays for a lot of points, especially with the discard package, which Camilo does have. He will be discarding that Mogfog, which will come straight back onto the board. The question is does he have enough answers to try and, you know, maybe answer this Eidolon or maybe answer the 1-point copies that will be coming onto the board. Coral does, you know, damage by 2, a random enemy unit by 2 every time you discard, but there are no discards left in Camilo's hand, unfortunately.
There is one discard there, but not Birna or something. I do see their Gutting Slash though, so that Eidolon or even that Phoenix can go out of the round very quickly. Actually, the Phoenix there is actually a very good choice, so Xanthiax will not be able to get any more of those Phoenixes on board in round 1 at least. There we go. He takes the Phoenix. That was the most logical choice.
Definitely was, because now he is not able to consume it with that Arrakis Queen that he has in hand, and it sets off a chain reaction. If he can't consume it with the Arrakis Queen, he's not able to use the stratagem onto the Arrakis Queen to get that extra copy. So that gutting slash made sense to get rid of that Phoenix there.
Okay.
So unfortunately, Xanthiax does not have since that Phoenix is already in the graveyard, there's not really a way for him to make the extra copies now. So he might have to switch to his plan B here. And going into this tournament, you have to think sometimes, okay, if my original plan doesn't go to work, what is my plan B? So hopefully Xanthiax has come up with something up his sleeve in the event that his Phoenix was removed quite early in the game.
Against the Master Mirror deck, I am wondering what kind of things he can do, and it seems like he just passes here. He passes uneven actually, which is not entirely good for him, but his hand also doesn't really help too much in doing whatever he's planning to do. He does have Oniromacy Royal Decree in hand. He gets that Maxi back. Ooh, this is gonna be very difficult for Xanthiax to
Yeah, so I imagine, so he still has these combo pieces of Arrakis Queen and Abaya there. I imagine that the Phoenix will come back onto the board. because it is in the graveyard, and so it will respawn. So he is going to click that, and he is able to do his combo. He may not be able to get the extra Death Wish from the stratagem, but he's still able to make, you know, a couple of copies from the Arrakis Queen onto their buyer, and then also with the leader charge there.
And there we go with the Jaime Protector dropping in from the Camilo, first card in his turn, and Xanthiax will probably start copying everything right now. So, yeah, there we go. Arrakis Queen in the Phoenix. We already have one, a Abaya in hand as well, so we're gonna get more.
And then he will be able to use either his leader charge or using one of his consumes. I don't think he has a consume, but he may be able to draw one with his Zoniro. There might be something else that he would like to use his Zoniro for, but definitely he has a leader charge there available if he wishes. I imagine that he would probably... sorry, I didn't see the deck there, but I imagine he would probably want to pull out something else from his deck in this round.
There we go. There's a deck for you.
Thank you.
He does have a few options, but not too many, so he has to be careful what he uses.
So he is able to get that extra copy with the Abaya. Abaya came down, fulfilling the death wish of the Arrakis Queen, and able to get a second copy once the Arrakis Queen is actually consumed.
Stars are all the trophies I need.
It will also be interesting to see how much Camilo wants to bleed here. Again, he won round 1 uneven, which is not good for Xanthiax. He has a free bleed right now, and he has quite a few cards in hand here that can help out in bleeding. Unfortunately for him, the Master Mirror is at the left edge of his hand there, so that will make it a bit peculiar in how he's gonna use it. And he has Gert, Shup, and Radeya right next to Master Mirror.
We just did see Xanthiax play that Radeya on his melee row, and because that Radeya actually gives you the stratagem that you use in your starting deck, gave him that Death Wish stratagem. So he's been able to execute his combo here in round 2. Even though that first Phoenix got answered in round 1, he passed early. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna just do my combo in round 2. And there we see the pass from Camilo. So Camilo deciding not to take that going down a card here. Now the question is, should Camilo have bled in round 2? Now I imagine that, with the Magic Compass, he kind of wants to try and thin out as much as possible, but I mean, that allowed Xanthiax to make the copies and also have carryover for the next round. So maybe if he went for a long round here, that kind of carryover is kind of useless in round 3. But we'll just have to wait and see on the long round. And here comes the carryover with the 4 Phoenixes coming on the board. So that is going to play for 16 points of carryover.
Exactly. That's going to be a lot of points. And the biggest advantage of the Phoenix is you can't do anything to that card. Only a heat wave can kill that card, or maybe a special shoop or something. But that's about it. So those points are safe for whenever Xanthiax decides to use it. And keep in mind, he still has the more wood in his deck. He has access to it via the Neuromancy or the Royal Decree, so we might see something there that will take a lot of value late in the game, exactly at the moment that Xanthiax needs it.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of these Phoenixes, right? They are an artifact. They're not a unit at this point, so you can just leave them on the board in the meantime, just the way they are, and you can click them later on in the round, so you can just protect them that way.
That is true. Let's see what Xanthiax will get. He gets the Defender, actually. He puts it in the range row. So whatever he's going to be building, probably he's going to be taking a lot of coins. He does have that Bone Talisman in hand. That's going to be able to play again for an area of effect, massive boost. So he needs to get as many points as possible on board for him, as many units, sorry, as possible on board. And right now he does have the potential to actually go through and do that.
Yeah, definitely. And the Chimera there as well. The Chimera consumes a unit and then boosts all units by one of the same unit. So if he does consume that Phoenix, he is able to give boost the other three by one. So that is an option as well. But Talisman there, as you said, if boosting everything on the board by one. So I imagine that Xanthiax will try to get as many units on the board as possible. He does have that Night Wraith on there, and that gives you the extra 1 point bodies of the rats. I'm not a fan of rats, but Xanthiax does need those rats there on the board.
Exactly. And we see here that Camilo actually has that Master Mirror disabled in his hand. It doesn't do anything, it just sits there, and he might need to use it at some point, but he still has a lot of very good cards. Shub and Radeya out there, he can't risk anything happening to them. Like you said at the beginning, Master Mirror is a very RNG card. It will turn a random into a random legendary, but he will have to sacrifice Shub and Radeya, so we might see a late Master Mirror here.
Yes, sir. I believe. Sorry. The Master Mirror, is it the most leftmost card or the rightmost card when it first comes down?
When it first comes out, it's the leftmost one.
I see. Yes, that would make sense as to.
Yeah, it's the leftmost one, and if you play a card from the rightmost part of your hand, then it reactivates again.
I understand. Okay, that makes. I was just getting confused. I was like, he can do it now if he wants, but yeah, he obviously has to wait. He needs to play the Shoop and the Redea first. They are his top goals, so he is looking to play those first before he does slam that Master Mirror down to get the random legendary. And you could get any random legendary. Could be some 2-point shooter that's not really useful for you. So very, very RNG heavy with the Master Mirror. But hey, what is a meme tournament without a card like Master Mirror, right?
Exactly. Camilo here is definitely looking into a way of using the Magic Compass most effectively, but he can't really get below the 3 cards threshold, so he is using it early, and he has Mega Scope, Half-Ru, and Heimei Herbalist. Not the best options he could get most probably from his deck, but he does choose to get that Mega Scope, probably for another Priest.
Yeah, I imagine you just get it onto the priest, just to get that extra engine going. He does damage the unit by 1, but he does boost himself by 2, so it is getting one boost per turn, essentially. The side of the board on Xanthiax is getting quite juicy now. He's got quite a few units there, and he does consume that Night Wraith to get the extra rats there. There's no... Yeah, he uses the Chimera on the rats, and there is no real danger of him, over swarming the board, because it looks like he's perfectly placed everything. He's got enough room there. He's going to click those Phoenixes once he's ready, and he's only got specials left in the hand. So is there something from his deck that who would like to pull out with his Royal Decree?
Morwood, that's the only card he can get. That's the top value, unless there is a good Spores target, and from what I see here, there's not. The value is gonna be massive because Morwood boosts all allied beast units by 1, and we essentially have all of the units are basically beasts minus a couple of them, so he will get a lot of value, plus the Phoenixes, which are also beasts, so that just the Phoenixes is gonna be a 20-point finisher for him. Oh, sorry, yeah, Glassdick, sorry, I forgot. So, Spores is not, you can't use Royal Decree with Spores as well. Yeah, you're right. I completely forgot.
That's fine. I mean, Royal Decree and Onuru can get a little confusing at that time. And we see the Shoop come down, actually. He was a hunter, and he was going to play a random card from the deck, but unfortunately he does play a Skirmishers, so probably not the best Shoop that you can get here. But again, Shoop is an RNG based kind of card, so I'm not sure exactly what Camilo was trying to find in his deck. He was able to thin down to 1, but then again, it was only because he was able to play that Magic Compass, but unfortunately, weren't able to get that Magic Compass value.
Nothing to see.
Okay, and there we go. And he gets the scenario from the Master Mirror. Oh my god.
It's a little bit too late. It would have come clutch earlier in the round, but unfortunately, we don't have any druids to actually progress that scenario, unfortunately. If he was able to perhaps maybe get a little earlier, I don't think he has any druids anyway, so I don't know how useful it is here, but Master Mirror pulling in a scenario here, it's quite exciting to see.
Oh my god, he has been, Xanthiax has played this very, very good. He actually managed to get the full combo out, even if he was denied round 1, and that late Morwood and the Bone Talisman was just full efficient value. That's it. It was the tombstone set on Camilo, unfortunately. Xanthiax played this very, very well.
Guara did pull us a artifact compression and a decoy, but it was not enough. 90 to 62. Xanthiax takes this round as well.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Xanthiax.
Congratulations to Xanthiax, and to Camilo. Thank you very much for joining the tournament and playing. You have played very, very well. Also, now I can speak to the chat. Jorge, Olge Banido, thank you. Again, thank you Kung Fu Rabbit for the raid. Thank you Ertemelora for the raid. Munchies, who won in your matchup? Who won in your matchup? Yeah, series is actually already over.
Yeah, so Xanthiax played super well. He was able to answer that. In the mirror, we did see the Archmage's mirror. Camilla was on blue, but Xanthiax saw the line that won him the game, locking that Archgriffin. I'm making notes for, if I ever have the Archmage's mirror, I'm gonna take notes. But that play with the Margarita was super clutch. Locking that Griffin so that it denied Camilo any carryover whatsoever, but he was able to keep his Archgriffin, so he was able to get all the points there.
Yeah, so yeah, for the people who came late, unfortunately, first, both players banned their NG decks. So Camilo banned the Assimilate Madness for Xanthiax, and Xanthiax banned the Referee Lockdown. So basically on blue coin was Camilo, and he took Archimages, and Xanthiax did the same, so we had a mirror match, and basically first round was just hide and seek between both players, trying to set up those mages on board to get as much value on the Archgriffin as possible. Unfortunately for Camilo, Xanthiax did play this a little bit better. They played their full hands, and Xanthiax on last turn he got that Margarita here, which locked the Archgriffin, essentially taking a massive value out of whatever Camilo was preparing. So this was the most game-defining moment in that game. Emil, what do you think was the most defining moment in Game 2 with the Phoenix Swarm versus Master Mirror?
Yeah, so there was that question of whether do I bleed or do I not, because Xanthiax wasn't able actually to set up his carryover in round 1. That Phoenix got answered with the Gutting Slash, and there was no way for him to actually make those copies. So we did see Xanthiax take the early pass at seven cards, and obviously he lost it even, but it didn't matter because he knew he wanted to set up the Phoenixes in round 2 if Camilo was to bleed, and he did try to go for that bleed, but once he caught on what was happening, he's like, no, I'm just not gonna play into this round anymore. So the question is, maybe he should have bled, maybe gone for the 2-0 there, perhaps. I don't know. I mean, I can't remember what his hand looked like, but that deck does play for a lot of points. So maybe it would have been best to try and bleed at that point, but or just not go for the bleed at all. I mean, Xanthiax would have potentially just tried to make as many copies as possible, going down to 3 cards. And I believe he was able to, but that 16-point carryover, it's really hard to answer once you're in round 3.
I think if I recall correctly, he had Shoop and Radeya and Gerd. Gerd was used early in round 2, but he had Shoop and Radeya as well in hand. He had Master Mirror in hand. He didn't want to use it. Maybe the bleed there would be very, very dangerous for him. So maybe it was the right choice for him to pass at 7. But also it allowed Xanthiax to keep a lot of his cards that he actually was able to use in round 3 in order to get his entire board set up. He had like 2 or 3 cards that weren't really beasts, so Morwood was completely useless with them, but everything else was beasts. So in all essence, he had all that value being set up there for both his Morwood and for his Bone Talisman. So maybe if Camilo decided to be a bit more aggressive in round 2, he might have the ability to take a few of those cards out of Xanthiax's hand, and well, maybe he could keep up with the points. Of course, this is all just, maybes, and because we
What ifs?
because we'll never really see what actually could have happened. I do think that Camilo did the most safe choice there, which was to take his chances in a long round 3, and well, he wasn't very lucky as well with a couple of his plays there. He lost that Shoop kind of, he didn't get enough value for it. He played the Magic Compass very early, so he didn't take advantage of getting a legendary card that he could probably use to take something away from Xanthiax. So he got also a bit unlucky, but the Master Mirror deck is always a very RNG heavy deck, so you have to expect that things like that might happen.
Yeah, and it was dangerous to play that that Magic Compass because there was a squirrel waiting in Xanthiax. I do recall seeing the squirrel there. So yeah, unfortunately, it's just one of those things where sometimes you just can't keep up with the points.
Okay, so this is actually the 4th or 5th match in a row that it's a 2-0. Unfortunately, we don't get to see that third game being played, and I really wish that we could actually see that. But anyway, we still have one more match for the round 4 losers bracket tomorrow night. It's gonna be, if I'm not mistaken, at 9 p.m. CET. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, so tomorrow we're gonna be having Danny Rai versus Faberstein, another interesting matchup. Danny Rai lost his previous matchup in the winners bracket, and he ended up in losers round 4. He still has a chance to move on and try to reclaim a spot in the grand finals, but first he has to pass through Faberstein. That match will happen tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. CET time. I'm gonna be casting the game again along with Erte Melora. We haven't decided where exactly, in which channel, but we'll announce that probably at some point on Twitter and on Discord. And with that match, we're gonna be entering losers round 5 and 6 from the next weekend. And Emil, you are in losers round 6. Your possible matchups will be either Xanthiax, which we know he already passed, and another one competitor between Danny Rai and Faberstein. We're gonna see who it is tomorrow. How do you feel about being in that specific place in the tournament, and how do you feel about your opponents? What opponent would you prefer to face in round 6?
I mean, Yeah, I mean, there's no secret that I am disappointed being in the losers round six. I mean, it's just because it was so close to being in the semi-final, and now in the when you go in the lower bracket, there's a little bit more digging that you have to do. There's a little bit more games that you have to do in order to try and get to the final. But that's okay. It's all good. There are some strong competitors though that I will have to face potentially. Xanthiax has been playing amazingly. As you've mentioned, he has been doing 2-0s on his opponent. So he's had a good track record thus far here in the lower bracket. But Fabustine has actually been a contender here. He's been playing super well in this tournament, taking on some big opponents and getting through. So it will be a challenge for him against Danarai here, but we'll just have to wait and see. And in terms of who I'd like to see to play against, I mean, I'm just happy that I'm still in the tournament. So everyone's been so great in this tournament, so it doesn't faze me on who my next opponent is.
In all honesty, so far from all the plays I've seen, all the matches I've seen, you have been one of the top players so far. And I'm not saying this because I know you or because you're here with me right now. You have been playing very, very good. Some of your plays in some of your matches, they do show that you were extremely well prepared for it. You did a lot of preparing on your own, and you got into your matches knowing your strategy and everything. I do believe that whoever passes from the Xanthiax and Danny Rai or Faberstein matchup, they're not gonna find a weak competitor in their way. They're gonna find a very big challenge ahead of them, and I'm very much looking forward for that matchup, as well as the Innomine Satanas matchup. Munchies is in round 5 along with MCM. Both of them very good players, so Innomine Satanas will definitely have a big challenge as well. So losers bracket doesn't mean anything. We still have very good competitors, and I do believe we're gonna see a lot of great matches.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. We are getting to the pointy end of the tournament here, getting closer and closer to the grand final here. But we still have many, many exciting matchups waiting to happen. So I can't wait for those.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna be ending the stream. I'm actually 4 hours in. I started about 9 my time. I'm gonna be raiding someone. I need to raid someone. Hold on, where's my mobile? Emil, thank you very much for being here with me tonight and casting this game with me. It's always a pleasure to have you here, and in the next few matches I'm probably gonna have you as well again hosting. And I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow. Sorry, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. I was gonna say thank you so much for having me. I really, it's always a pleasure to be casting with you, watching these exciting matches. So thank you again.
I'll be seeing you tomorrow night at some point, a bit before the Danny Rai Faberstein matchup, along with Erta Melora, who's gonna be my co-host tomorrow night. Again, we're gonna be updating everyone on where exactly that will be. So hopefully we're gonna see you there as well. Another great matchup coming up, guys. And Draftston,